Belmont Stakes Racing Festival is upon us. Tremendous action throughout the weekend, and the way you want to play all the action is through Naira Bets. You want to figure this one out? Text BET to 8925. We've got a $200 sign-up bonus, the usual, but also a $25 money-back guarantee. Your horse finishes second, third in the Belmont. Get the money back. Text that. Get the information. It's smarter than I am. We've also got some guarantees on Saturday. Now, keep in mind the first one. That's the first pick 5 starts in race 1. The late pick 5, which will end the Belmont Stakes, that's not guaranteed, and that's a Naira Bets late pick 5. The only way to play it is play it through Naira Bets, unless you're in the state of New York and you're at the track. $500,000 guaranteed pick 6 starts in race 6, and a $1.5 million guaranteed pick 4 that starts in race 8. Let's start with race number 6 and go through this pick 6 sequence pretty quickly. Who's the biggest star in the Jaipur? It's World of Trouble. He's the even money morning line favorite. This is his last win at Churchill Downs. He has been absolutely brilliant. He's very hard to beat on the turf. He's actually 3 for 4. He lost the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. He lost it narrowly. Other than that, he's just been terrific. But you know what? He's never been effective on the firm turf that he's getting on Saturday. While they listed the turf as firm at Churchill Downs, on Derby weekend it was not firm. The final time tells you it was yielding. He's a horse that likes giving the ground. So if you want to find a potential chink in the armor, will he be as good on firm turf? He's an A. You got to use him. Are you going to use Disco Partner? That's the question. He won this race 2 years in a row. He was second in it the year before that. He's going to try to come back in a 4 straight Jaipur and win it for 3 years in a row. If he runs the race he ran last year, I'm going to tell you World of Trouble could be in a world of trouble. I did not like his return race at Keeneland. He did not run well at all. Buried down the inside. He probably is best getting clear run, but he had no real run in that race. And he tailed off towards the end of last year. I didn't like a second-place finish behind White Flag, his uncoupled stablemate. Still, he's got to be on your ticket somewhere. There are others in here. Belvoir Bay, the filly, comes in for Peter Miller. She's not impossible in here. Ohm, who finished second, the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint a long time ago. I think Dirty's a potential upsetter in here as well for Jeremiah Englehart. He actually should have beaten World of Trouble in a quick call last year when he got loose before the race, or he broke through the gate. And I think he's a dangerous alternative at a price. But World of Trouble, he's the horse to beat. Second leg, starts off the Naira Bets late pick 5. The only way to play it if you're not in New York State, play it through Naira Bets. That's the ACORN. It's a grade 1 ACORN. Serengeti Empress. She's going to try to pull off that very, very tricky Kentucky Oaks ACORN double. I'd love to see her do it for my man Tom Amos, but I want to see it to believe it. She did not draw well inside. She's fast, but, man, there are some other fast horses in here as well. Cece's got speed on the outside. Guarano will get to. She's going to beat me, Serengeti Empress. She'd be at best to see in this race. But let me tell you, she's a good horse. And when she's able to control, she's dangerous. But if she can't control, she could be in trouble. And we'll see just how fast this pace is and how much pressure she gets. Let's talk about Guarana, the maiden breaker at Keeneland. She was absolutely brilliant in her debut, winning by almost 15 lengths and running a 93 Beyer. And she is a potential star on the horizon. The problem is she did this on a sloppy sealed track, and she's going to get a dry track on Saturday. Is she a horse that had an exaggerated effort in a sloppy track? Well, obviously Chad Brown thinks that she's the goods. Because for him to jump from a maiden to a grade 1, as he's doing the Woody Stevens, he must think very highly of this horse. I think she's, in a lot of ways, the horse to beat. She has a better outside stalking post. She has to be used in this race. I think Cookie Dough is dangerous, switching to Kieran McLaughlin. While she's been good on the front end, she rated and won last year. She wasn't as quick, but I think she's an interesting player as well. I'm going to use Cookie Dough. I'm going to use Guarana as my main 2 and a little Queen of Bees as well. In the ACORN, the late pick 4, it's guaranteed at $1.5 million. It kicks off in the Woody Stevens presented by Mohegan Sun. Let's start this conversation with Mind Control. Mind Control is really ultra consistent. Other than a tough trip, bad performance around 2 turns in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year, he has been good in all of his starts. Here he is beating Much Better, who's back in here. Much Better is going to be part of a pace that includes the very fast Landeskog, as well as complexity we'll talk about. Mind Control is a very logical, consistent type, and he is absolutely a horse that you have to have on your tickets. I'm going to use Mind Control, but I'm going to try to beat him in the race. Chad Brown has a very, very formidable pair in this race. Quickly talk about Honest Mischief. He is an extremely exciting Juddmonte runner who broke his maiden with a 97 Beyer, and it could have been higher. Horses have come back out of that race and run very, very well. I like Honest Mischief, but I also respect complexity. We'll take a look at him winning the Champagne at Belmont last year. He was brilliant in the Champagne, setting a wicked pace, running all the speed off their feet, and running off to the stretch. Yeah, Code of Honor made a little bit of run after stumbling to start in the stretch, but he was picking up tired horses. Complexity was dominant. He did not run well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's been laid up, but Chad Brown would not bring him back in a race of this caliber unless he was doing extremely well. But he has to show he can rate in here as well, because with much better than Landeskog, he's not going to be controlling in the front end. He can't go as fast as those horses. I think he's dangerous in here. I'm going to use the 2 Chad Browns, and I'm going to use a little Mind Control, Wendell Fogg, Nitrous. These are all interesting horses as well. Even Baracho's improving for Rutschly Arnold. An excellent running of the now Grade 1 Woody Stevens, presented by Mohegan Sun. But no race compares to the Run Happy Met Mile. This is an absolutely sensational race. We've been waiting a long time to get this race, and it finally comes together. Let's go and take a look at the morning line favorite. That's McKinsey. You got the routers turning back. You've got the sprinters stretching out. You've got everything you could want in this race. Over 30 graded or group wins from this field. McKinsey, he's undefeated around 1 turn. He had a big win in the Grade 1 Malibu at 7 furlongs. And he was dazzling winning the Ali Sheba last time out. Bob Baffer's had success in this race. He's had success in all the big races around the country. McKinsey's the horse to beat. He's very much on my tickets. I did not make it my top choice because I want to try to get a little bit of a price in here, but this is a very, very interesting race. But I can't wait to see what Matoli does. Matoli, in Promises Fulfilled, ran 1-3 in the Churchill Downs Stakes. That was on Derby Day, and Matoli showed that he doesn't need a lead to win, and he also can get 7 furlongs, but can he get a mile? He's been brilliant. He's 7 for 10 lifetime. He has won 6 straight races. I can't wait to see him run in this race. I would love to see him put on a show in here, and I think you've got to use him somewhere, but he's got to get the mile. It is going to be a huge test, and can he deal with Promises Fulfilled, who's outside of him? This race, he was inside of him. Frenzy Fire is 3 for 3 at Belmont Park, including a tremendous win in the Run Happy. And you use the Run Happy as a prep for the Run Happy Met Mile. I mean, how can that not be magical? He was incredible in this race. This was his A race, much like the Dwyer last year at a mile. He runs these races. He's a player. We will see if he can run back-to-back big efforts and if he can step up and be a field of this caliber. I am highly dubious, but I can understand why some people like him, and he was super impressive winning the Run Happy. Todd Pletcher has a 2 in here. The Godolphin Mile winner, Colefront, looking for his 4th straight, and Prince Lucky, who was tremendous in Florida. He did not handle the slop last time. I don't think Todd runs him back unless he thinks he's doing well, and the slop was the excuse. He's a long shot to look at. I think Thunder Snow. 2-time winner of the Dubai World Cup, ran well at Belmont, went 2nd in our Jockey Club Gold Cup last year, good 3rd in the Breeders' Cup. I love him turning back to a mile. I think it fits him to a T, and he's my top choice. McKinsey and Thunder Snow are my main 2, but you could use an awful lot in here. And then there's the Manhattan, and a 4-headed monster for trainer Chad Brown, including, right now you'd have to say he's a contender for Horse of the Year, but if he wins the Manhattan, he may have already sealed up an eclipse as the older turf champion. Bricks and Mortar won that Pegasus in the turf. He's for 4 since coming back. Big win in the Turf Classic at Churchill. I mean, look at him. He is just relentless, and he ran down Kerbin. We know that Bricks and Mortar can handle more distance. Can Kerbin, who's run very well for Kieran McLaughlin, what a great job he's done with him. Is he going to be effective in a 1.25 miles? And can Raging Bull, who finishes 4th in here, can he take that step forward? Can he do it a 1.25 miles? He gets blinkers on. Chad Brown won this race with slumber blinkers on. He's 4 for 8 in greatest stakes over the last 5 years, putting blinkers on for the first time. I think the horse to beat is Bricks and Mortar. I did pick him second, another Chad Brown runner, and that's Robert Bruce, who had a tough trip in this race last year. He was buried in traffic. He did not handle the soft going last time. I know Olympio was a winner, but this is Channel Maker. Forget about Robert Bruce. Let's go to Channel Maker. I'm using Robert Bruce, in case you didn't know it. I'm also going to use Channel Maker. Channel Maker, much like Robert Bruce, was lucky in this race last year when he just was given no chance whatsoever. An underconfident ride, but Joel Rosario rides this horse extremely well, and he's timed it very well. Cuts back from a 1.3 miles Ace Man of War, but distance no problem for this horse, and he just runs well all the time. I think you leave him out at your peril. The horse to beat is Bricks and Mortar. I'm going to use Robert Bruce, Bricks and Mortar, and Channel Maker as my main 3 in this Big 6 or any of the multi-races. The last leg is the big one, and it might be one that I'm going to single. But let's talk War of Will. War of Will drew post 9. His main rival, Tastus, drew post 10. Post not a major factor in here. We'll see if Todd Pletcher can do some damage in this race. He has been sensational over the last 12 runnings. The Belmont with 3 wins and a bunch of seconds, at least 3 seconds. Not a man to leave out. But War of Will, I think you have to respect him and use him. I know he had a perfect trip in the Preakness, but he showed that he can really run a good race if he doesn't get in trouble like he did in the Derby when he got badly fouled. He didn't run Louisiana Derby, but there was obviously an issue that day. All his other races this year have been very good. Gets the fast track he wants. Why can't he get a mile and a half, and why can't he flaunt his speed in this race? Speed is deadly in the Belmont Stakes, presented by NyraBets, by the way. But I think Tacitus is the horse to beat. His Wood Memorial was an excellent effort. He overcame early trouble in the race. He ran down Tax. Tax is back. I think Tax will run much better than he did in the Kentucky Derby. He'll be back in his home ground. I think he'll run well, but I just think Tacitus is going to be too much horse for this field. Thought his race in the Derby was good. He ended up getting shuffled back in the early running, farther back than he wanted to be, and he made a very valiant late run to finish fourth, place third. I think Tacitus, another Tappet, looking to be the fourth Tappet to win this Belmont Stakes. I think he is going to be very tough to beat. But listen, Tax gave all he can handle in this race, but I think we're going to see a very good performance from Tacitus. I could use Spinoff. He's a long shot. Intrepid Heart, not the worst to throw in. Master Fencer, who ran a little bit in the Derby, the Japanese horse. They're all dangerous, but Tacitus, my main use. It's going to be a great sequence. You've got the $500,000 guaranteed pick 6. You've got the NyraBets late pick 5, and you've got the $1.5 million guaranteed late pick 4. The guaranteed pick 5, that starts in race number 1. That's the early pick 5, and that's open to everybody. Those are the guaranteed wagers taking place in some of them in this sequence we just looked at, and you want to play them all through NyraBets. Remember, we've got that bet 200, get 200 sign up, a special $25 money back, win bet in the Belmont Stakes. Your horse finishes second and third. To get all the information, text bet to 80925. The Belmont Stakes presented by NyraBets, the highlight of a tremendous stakes-filled card and stakes-filled weekend here at Belmont Park.